Woohoo! Does the chat window show up in the stream? I thought you blocked it.
The chat window? No, it's there.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, no, I'm showing roll results and all that fun stuff. If I wanted to claim favorite use, what would I be looking at here?
Magic, duh.
All right, favorite use
I mean,
for
for academics would be
yep.
magic.
All right, claiming it.
Why would you pick anything else?
All right, so 3 successes. Claiming a favorite use for magic. Academics as magic.
Okay, so did you re-roll that one?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a 7. Derp.
Yep. So
Okay.
3 successes.
All right. Well, so so long time ago here in Suntown, during the thousands of years ago, the Deltan dynasties ruled this place. But that was, what have you done for us lately? This is a lot of people think of Acoma as the birthplace of magic, although the Calabrese would tell you, really. And it's rumored that this is the best place to find necromancy because, back in the ancient days, you had the Deltans who had a written language, but also didn't have any prescription against researching necromancy. So it's theorized that they have great secrets that were lost to the ages. But we've got a bit of a problem. The modern people don't take kindly to necromancy because it's creepy and uncontrolled. And then you have the Anatolian Empire, who is controlling this area, who also don't want necromancy because necromancy doesn't help with their rule at all. Related to this is a group of I want to say like a society of scholars, let's call them that, who took it upon themselves to stomp out necromancy wherever it is. Their name translates as the Black Angels. The Black Angels are a lot, just like the Cognoscente, are kind of like the masters of mind magic. That they don't want other people just learning mind magic and ruining the specialness for everyone, and they'll keep it shrouded in mystery. The Black Angels are a society of wizards who control the flow of necromancy.
Okay.
As in, they meet. They have a tendency to meet other necromancers and then say, "Well, you can join us and pay dues to our organization, obey all our rules, or we'll kill you, or worse." The Black Angels are mostly found among the many corpse eaters. They apparently started among the vultures, who have a certain tribal cachet here. By the way, there are vultures in Horn and Ivory, in case any of you wanted to be one. But they're also known to hang out with hyenas and other weirdos. There is a tradition still in town that the Anatolians haven't been able to get rid of. Sometimes you will see towers of silence, which are tall towers that some people put their dead in. There's a couple of them in town, but the Anatolians discourage their use. It's illegal to go in those. And some people still leave their corpses up there. So Black Angels can come by and eat them. Which supposedly will let them go back to the cycle of creation. So with your 3 successes, you've been doing some research in the Black Angels. 1 success would tell you they exist. 2 successes tells you that the Black Angels are technically illegal because necromancy is illegal, and they and also once again the Anatolian Empire. If it's not in the best interest of the occupying empire, it's illegal. That was easy. Okay, but there definitely are Black Angels in Suntown. It's too big. And if any the politics right now is it's not entirely clear who sorry, I lost my train of thought there. It's not the black. It's rumored that the Black Angels are a secret cabal who are trying. Some of them might be occupationalists. They might be, trying to find favor in Anton Empire. Because after all, we have a saying in necromancy. It's called "protein gets out protein." Knowing necromancy is the best way to deal with it.
That makes sense.
But of course, there are also rebels who don't like the Anatolians because, screw these guys. With 3 successes, you'll find there's a couple of rumors that you want to back up with. Like, first of all, you're not sure if the Black Angels are, what their current alignment is, royalist, occupationalist, or in between. They must be operating in the city somewhere, but being vulture, if their membership is mostly vultures, they would probably be in some of the higher places, and also probably not in the city proper itself. And you think they might be operating somewhere in this town. You're not entirely sure where, but with 3 successes, you've got some good leads. If the Black Angels operate in town, they have to have somewhere to live or not. So either they're living in some abandoned ruin somewhere, so you've narrowed it down to, something abandoned. Nothing in the Delton Valley is really abandoned because this is a town. So, if it's land, people are squatting on it to do business. So you might have to go off into either upriver or into the western wilderness, or worse than that, the desert, which is beyond the wilderness. Or you might have to start asking around rich and powerful people. Now, speaking of rich and powerful people, you do have a slight in because Mistress Samira is an important merchant in town who not only has interest in this ship, but she also has money. Because when you guys went to go meet with her, and she was at one of the big Explorer Society meetings, she was dressed to the nines, and from what you can tell the rumors, she knows people. So she might also be a lead. And of course, there's always the corpse takers, because any large city like this has to have people who do grunt work. So talking to the low-level, people who work in corpses is also a great way to gain some more information. And there might be and also there is the Anatolian Palace, where their completely legitimate queen is, who is completely legitimate. And that there's also the Royal Library, because the Royal Library would have access. Unfortunately, Eldritch, you only had access to the Church Library, which is this stack of books here. And even though you've read it completely, there's only like 1 history book, and it pretty much, from what you've been able to glean about the Black Angels, you know that there's some sort of society. But they kind of sound right up your alley, because, they're a society that goes back hundreds of years, and any documentation on necromancy is good to have. It's not entirely clear whether the Book of Black Magic, written by the pseudonymous Frater Perfredo, it's not true if his spells are flawed or if he just wrote them that way because he thought it would be funny.
It's hard to tell, these collaborations.
Well, he might have also written them that way because, hey, I don't want to be being as awesome wizard as I was. I'll just build in some flaws to these spells. I'm sure smart people will figure it out.
Is that like something you can actually just skill check?
They're rumors. It's kind of like like when you roll triples, to spoilers, people. Necromancy and Ironclaw is prone to wickedness. If a roll has 3 6s showing, and it's a contest like you versus someone's defense, that's 3 6s on all of you. If 3 6s are showing, something bad happens.
What if you get 3 3s?
Hooray! But if you get 3 6s, something bad happens. And it's not sure if that's flaws in the spells. What it probably is when you tap into necromancy, you're tapping into the power of dead souls. The dead souls have their own power. I mean, you ask them to come. So any dead soul energy that shows up has its own agenda. So in theory, it's unlimited in power, but in practice, that unlimited power also means unlimited possibility for failure.
Sometimes you bring your wife back from the dead. Sometimes you lightning your own face off.
Sometimes both.
Unlimited power, man. Unlimited power.
Usually it's not lightning your face. Usually it's just your face melting. It's usually way grosser.
There are exceptions.
Then you bring your wife back from the dead and she claws your face off. It's just like she's alive again.
I mean, sometimes dead is better.
Where's the scenario where I bring my wife back from the dead and she is my face?
All right, so this is kind of related, but solve the mystery of the Black Angels would be a tangent to this. And that would be a party goal that if Eldritch, if you explained that to Ada and Griffin, what's your character's name again?
Donovan.
Donovan, thank you. If you explain that to Ada and Donovan, these two people who have nothing better to do, Ada and Donovan, are you amoral reprobates and will do anything for power and money?
Well, I sure do want to advance my magical knowledge, and hey, you know, these are magical people. All things reflect the true truth of Kin Dranagar.
Well, I've got nothing planned for the weekend.
So you could make that a party goal of solve the mystery of the Black Angels, and all three of you had that to your goal list, if you want.
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, sure, I'm cool.
Hey, Ada, corpses.
Maybe I'll learn how to hack or pull shadows into my power.
Yeah, there's a lot of corpse eating in the history of Akoma. But you three being Western foreigners, it's hard to separate rumor from fact.
I mean,
maybe we should just go beat up residents of the country and make them tell us stories.
I mean, I was gonna say, why don't we just hang out the Tower of Silence and see who shows up?
Well, you could try hanging out the Tower of Silence. I can tell you with your local knowledge, it's illegal to go there, but it's not like they have, which means that every now and then you will see guards. They don't send the Janissaries to do it because the Janissaries are like, elite guards, but they do hire thugs to go ahead and watch it to make sure no one dumps any corpses there. That said, they hire low-level thugs. Your 3-player characters who just stole a ship.
Hey, wait, I'm also a thug because I beat up other thugs.
Exactly. I mean, you did that last time too.
Damn, we should go get paid. We should get paid. He's the thuggiest thug that ever thugged.
Yes, and by beat up we mean outright murder. Because the last thing that guy saw was the expression on your face when your sleeve sword went into his chest.
But we have to make sure there are no witnesses.
Including ourselves.
Yeah, I don't know. Raktus, you're a resident expert in this. I don't. The sneak attack specifically say in Ironclaw that it can't overkill, or can sneak attack still overkill?
Sorry, I was talking to the thing. I believe it still overkills.
Okay, it's still over. In later editions of the game, later games, we took out the sneak attack can't overkill because that kind of defeats the point of sneak attack.
Yeah.
Well, hold on, I'll get back to you on that because the last one I looked at was from Myriad Song and not
Right.
Ironclaw.
Right. So I will probably be house ruling that sneak attack cannot overkill. So, which is both good and bad. Because
hey, are there drop attacks in this game?
What is
There's a bunch of shit where it allows you to do a bunch of parkouring in the game, which allows you to get a lot of upward momentum in an urban
Parkour is a
area.
gift you can take.
So is it possible to get an attack from above feet?
Oh, isn't Death from Above in Book of Jade? I think Death from Above's in Book of Jade.
It is.
Yeah, Death from Above. Yes, there is a Death from Above.
I think you're talking about the gift Sneaky Fighter, not Sneak Attack, right?
My bad.
Whenever you attack with a weapon that has concealable descriptor, you may claim a bonus 2d8 with your attack dice. There is no bonus for counters or parries. It says nothing about overkill.
Okay, I will probably be house ruling, which I don't think the assassin's going to complain about after you saw what happened to that guy.
Well, like I guess the kind of thing is that I'm not trying to blow up people with my sneak attack. That kind of defeats
Right.
the purpose.
It's supposed to be a high precision blow, so yeah, no, sneak attack will just regular kill instead of overkill.
I have to learn.
Which I, that's something we came up with later when we discovered you could make people explode with it. Like I said, this is an Assassin's Creed. Well, I left 12 corpses in this alley. I'm sure no one will look into that.
Oh man, is there scrying in this world?
Yes.
Oh,
several kinds.
I even did a little bit of it last time. Okay.
I hate scrying. It's so bullshit.
It's defended against by supernatural. You should buy up your supernatural skill.
Maybe. Probably.
That's okay. I'll just teleport to the tree nearest to you. No biggie.
Yeah, teleporting this game requires you have a piece of the tree, though. Aha! That's why I carry a piece of every tree.
I'm definitely building up to that, though, because it's cool.
Right. So
anyway.
The Tower of Silence might be a place to meet a Black Angel. That's a good idea. Do you want to go and scope out what you think is a Tower of Silence? That's one option.
I mean, knowing Donovan's expertise, I would say like the Imperial Library, but we don't have access to that, so I'm thinking the Tower of Silence is probably the best bet.
Well, in order to get access to the Imperial Library, you would either have to get permission to go into the library or break in at night.
Let's break in.
Breaking in sounds like it could end up very poorly.
Okay, let's break in.
I want to emphasize that you three know of these places, but the way, I'm not sure other GMs, I'm trying to mention
we know the tourist description.
Right, what you do know and don't know. You know the place exists, but when I say you haven't cased it out yet, I mean you can try to gather information on these places. Ways to gather information include using gossip to ask people questions or using your stealth and observation to go look at it. Climbing to the highest tower in town, looking around, all the waypoints appear on your map, that kind of jazz.
I mean, how often are vultures seen in the town?
Well, vultures are abiding citizens, so often.
So it wouldn't be really all that odd for, the local friendly raven to go take a little flight around town, just look at literally everything, and then come back and say, yeah, I saw this place.
That is also an option. I do also want to emphasize that avoid your species profiling, because while the Black Angels have a history of being vultures, not all vultures are Black Angels.
No, I wasn't saying like...
Hashtag not all vultures.
Look, man, I'm not speciesist. Yeah. I'm just saying. I just wanted to make sure that the vultures were people I could see around here.
Yeah, they are.
I'm like a tourist in Africa. I will see white people here, right?
I mean,
I'm so glad we're streaming this. So the Delton Valley, because it's a major trade center between Zhangao, Calabria, and this is from the longest river, which empties out. This is a major trade city, so it's also incredibly cosmopolitan. So yes, you do see there's a mix. I mean, this is like every stereotypical Moroccan/Arabic city in a fantasy setting. There are bazaars selling all kinds of, there's people speaking a dozen different languages. It's a pirate town, and often, pirates are from foreign shores. So, yeah, the only place that would probably rival this place for diversity would be Calabria.
And yet not.
Hard to say. You'd have to perform a census.
So I think I have a pretty solid plan. Just fly around and observe. It's not legal to fly around, and well, who's gonna catch me?
Actually, it is illegal to fly around, but as long as you don't get caught. It's the Middle East. We can make anything illegal we want.
Oh no! Is it actually?
It's illegal to fly over the palace.
Okay, well, I'm not going to fly over restricted airspace. I at least have that much sense.
Yes, I'm not sure they would call it restricted airspace, but
well, we know what it is.
But you could try to fly around. Because you're going to be flying around for a long period of time, this is going to be mind, observation, endurance, and weather sense. It's endurance because you'll be flying around for a long time, and there are endurance flyers in this game, of which you are not one. You know what endurance flyer is?
Trying to think. Probably like a pelican or something, but...
Nope.
No?
Vultures, because they fly around circling for hours.
Alright, since this is a whole bunch of different things, I'm just going to go ahead and add them up.
Right.
So let's see. So mind first, and which is D8. Observation, which I got a whole lot of, and a favorite. So that's very good.
Right, and for those of you cribbing along, so you get now,
Explain it to the crowd.
So Donovan wanders off to say, well, I'm just going to go fly and look around based on the US. Oh, you also get a bonus D8 because I'm assuming, Eldritch, you spoke to these two at length of what you're trying to do, right?
Yes, about
right.
everything
And you rolled 3 successes in your research, so that will also give a bonus D8. Like, okay, look over here. Look for towers. Which ones? Towers are the tall ones. Oh, right.
Okay. Oh, wait, I missed that. I'm confused.
Right. So while Donovan wanders off to do that, which is going to take him several hours because it's a big city and there's lots to see, what are you other two going to be doing?
I mean, I'm still moving forward on the Towers of Silence.
Okay. So do you want? Eldritch? Do you want to go scope out where the towers are and
Yes, and watch them.
Okay, scoping out the towers for a long period is going to be mind, observation, and stealth. Stealth because you don't want to well, actually, if you do this during the day, you could either you instead of using stealth, you could use deceit. This is when you tell me they're at the same level.
No, actually, my deceit's higher because I have a gift that gave me a +1 mark.
Okay, so if you just want to hang around and blend in the crowd, do you have low profile? I'm guessing no.
I do not. All I have in that sense is danger sense or keen ears, night vision. If I did this at night,
you could. I'll give you a bonus D8 because you have keen ears and night vision, so you wander around at night instead.
I actually can. I have low profile, so I could do this stuff during the day.
Okay. Do you want to split your dice up and both of you case play separately, or do you want to work together?
I think he should do the night stuff and observe the night shift and bullshit, and I'll do the day shift and see.
Aren't you both foxes? Don't you both have night vision and keen ears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the idea would be if we did it at night, we'd only know what goes on during night. We should see what the daytime shift is. See if there's a whole.
Right. Okay. So Eldritch, you'll go around and check the place out at night. But you'll be staying in the obvious public places, blending in with the crowd, because even though the problem is where you think what might be old tower. While it's illegal to trespass in these towers, they don't have a sign that says Tower of Silence, do not dump corpses here. They kind of don't put that sign up, just like, they don't put up a sign that says, please do not sell crack here. They don't do that. Or monsters all, so you just want to hang around and look for signs and hidden stuff. So you're going to be using deceit to blend into the crowd. Ada, I'm guessing your stealth is way better than your deceit.
Yes, it's amazingly better.
So I assume that when you go sneak around, you use mind, observation, and stealth, and you'll actually try to trespass onto the property.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you roll mind, observation, stealth, and you may claim a bonus D8, both because because of all the enhanced senses you have.
Okay, well, hold on. You said what?
I posted it in the chat. Mind, observation, stealth, and a D8.
Mind, observation, stealth, and a D8.
And then you all agree to rendezvous back at the docks later after you do your various adventures.
D8.
I got 2 successes. Also, I rolled the wrong die for deceit, but it doesn't matter. My deceit die is actually larger. But a success is a success.
So I do have a question about mixed dice pools like this. If I have a relevant favored use, can I reroll any of the dice in the pool, or just the dice those are relevant? Cool, then I will go ahead and reroll the 1/1 that I got there.
Right, if you have favored use, you may roll 1/1. Favor doesn't stack. It's if you have 2 or 3 favors, it's just reroll 1/1. It's a simple rule. Basically, that's in there. So
didn't accomplish anything. I'm so good.
Yep. I mean, that's in there to make it definitely worth your while.
I don't have anything in observation. Do I just not roll anything in that?
You just roll nothing.
Okay. Okay, and then
Fortunately, I had points in all of those skills because I learned the first game I ran with Theta. Being a wuss who cannot walk cross country is kind of bad.
I'm one of those game masters who makes those skills very useful. Yes.
that didn't work right.
Yeah, so
suppose it
having
was-
at least one with a D4 body, will help.
Guess so.
Yep. One of these days we're gonna
Hey, they wanted to travel from Triskelion to Harrogate, so
I mean, I already made it useful, so
there was endurance rolls involved.
Who knew all this walking would take
Without the
a toll?
pluses quote that didn't roll all of them, just the first one. It treats everything
Yeah, I
after.
know. I'm trying to fix
Okay.
it.
So the first one, Donovan has 1, 2, 3, 4 successes. Okay. With one success, you get into the air. Yay!
Are you sure it's not 5, or was it...
4, 5? No, it is 5. My math is off.
It's okay.
All right. Yeah. But the more skills that are involved, like this was a 3-skill roll, so it requires at least 3 successes to do anything. But you have 5, so off we go. Okay, so yes, you will get into the air and you will get somewhat close to the Tower of Silence. It is a very tall tower. The tower itself is unusual in that it's a round building. A lot of Anatolian structure tends to be built on right angles with heavy slabs, if it's ancient. Later, as time went on, they started to do the math and master the Keystone Arch and the Dome. Dome is a very popular thing. So the Tower of Silence itself would actually have to be an older building because it's a pagan building. So despite the fact that you can see some rounder towers, those aren't it. The Tower of Silence would actually be this more square structure. And you can get reasonably close to it where you can see that it's a bunch of slabs that, here I'm gesturing, hey, radio. It's a 4-story structure that goes up and then has a pit at the top of it. There definitely are bored-looking guys in front of it. They wear the blue sashes, the Tyrian blue sashes of the Anatolian, mark them as scars, but they're obviously irregulars.
Right, they're just hired for like day labor for doing this kind of job.
Well, right, and it's don't let anybody trespass. So when you kind of fly overhead, they are mostly jackals. Or some sort of dog. You're not sure. It's not a raven, so who cares? And they do, when you fly over, look up with keen interest. Most pointedly, they are not on the land plot itself. There's instead sort of an improvised fence made out of posts around it. They are armed with guns, which is unusual for commoners. But they have the distinctive Giselles that are popular here. But they look up at you. This definitely, the structure itself looks a lot, and you rolled 5 successes. So you will notice that in some of the higher, like the tower itself, I think takes up about, I'll give people architecture nerds. The tallest part of the tower is an 8 pace by 8 pace square. But then it goes up and then there's a slab and there's like the roof is open and there's a darker room underneath. But around noon, the sun will actually be high enough that you actually see inside. With your keen raven eyes, you can see that there are indeed like scraps and little bits that have been left in there. It's clean, but not too clean. It's like as if people have been sneaking in there. But also with 5 successes, you think during the day that you saw somebody inside the tower.
Ooh.
You saw somebody in that lower dark level doing something. They might have been a bird, or they might have been somebody disguised as a bird, like with a very huge cloak to kind of hide that. But they didn't fly in and fly back out.
Right.
So how they got in there, I assume you do not report this to the guards.
No, of course not. Speaking of,
Okay.
how many guards are on duty?
There's usually only it looks like there's 3 plainclothes guards, as in guards wearing a blue sash. It's like guys who just their work clothes. Here, throw this blue sash on.
Mm-hmm.
But out of the 3 of them, only one of them has a gun. The other 2 will be armed with bows.
Okay. That is important information.
And specifically by gun, it's a Giselle, which is, I don't want to call it a rifle because we're still smoothbores at this time. but it's a long-barreled firearm.
The musket, I guess.
Yeah, the Giselle is the one that has that signature curved stock that you often see in, like, Arabic artwork. You know what I'm talking
firearms, about? Kind of.
Yeah, if you've seen, if you're a Team Fortress 2, you ever seen the Bizarre Bargain?
Oh, yes.
Yes, that is a Giselle. That is like a spot-on Giselle.
Ensuing TF2 rant about snipers. Anyway.
So that's pretty much all you observe. And also you get to see the whole city from a sky's eye view. It's a nice, thriving city.
Wonderful tourist destination.
Also during the day, you'll see a warehouse catch on fire and a bunch of people form a bucket brigade and put it out, but it doesn't seem to be relevant to this story.
Now I create a new goal, become a fireman, help them put out the fire.
Yep.
All right.
Scrolling down now, team observation. Let's see, Eldritch, how many successes did you get?
2.
2. Okay, with 2 successes, you'll see pretty much the same thing I described, which is there are 3 playing. The guy who has the gun probably outranks the other 2 because they will have conversations where they talk about boring stuff like, "Hey, did you see anything?" It's like, "Nah, thought I saw some, some weird kind of spooky ghost lurking around, but I asked that guy over there if he's supposed to be here, and he said yes." They say, pointing in your direction. "Oh, he's probably not important." "You think so? He's been hanging out there for like 7 hours." "Really? I think he just got here." No, they don't notice you, seriously. The tower itself is on a plot of land that is like its own half block, and it's got buildings on it, but the doors are all closed. And you have what, 3 successes again? Or 2?
2.
2 successes. So you'll notice the guys only walk around. They don't actually go inside. And when they talk about what they see, they just say they have nothing to report, and their conversation is pretty boring. And every now and then a new guy shows up. And while you watch them for several hours, you'll see a shift change where 3 new guys show up and the 3 other guys talk to each other a little bit, talk about what they're going to go do with money and complain about their spouses and go home. You also don't see anyone trespass. So if anyone is coming in or out of the property, there's no obvious way in, but if you had to tell anybody where to sneak, you've seen their patrols, you would be able to give somebody a bonus D8 to sneak onto the property, including yourself.
Gotcha.
Okay, Ada, you have 2 successes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The guard patrols are close enough together, and they are either dogs or jackals, so they have keen ears and also keen senses. There's one point where you're sneaking around pretty close to, it's a walled compound with stone wall. Every now and then there are plastered papers, like they take some sort of glue and put a seal. Ada, you may not know how to read, but you recognize the Anatolian seal when you see it. And this is basically, even if you can't read, this is like a no trespassing sign, like basically a neighborhood watch sign. That says, "Don't come here," and most importantly, don't trespass, don't steal our stuff, etc. It's plastered every few paces on the wall, and it's reasonably new. There isn't any easy way in. You've seen places, it's surrounded by a stone, a stone wall on both sides, and it's not spiked at the top, so it's not dangerous or whatever to get into. You could probably get in, but with only 2 successes, you're at the borderline where if you went over the wall, you would probably raise suspicion, because these guards who come around, even though they're dressed in plain clothes, they seem to know what they're doing and be reasonably observant. You would have to roll 3 successes to defeat them to get inside.
Okay.
Yeah, or if you waited until a gap in the patrol and then jumped over a wall, they might not notice you for a while, but they're all seem to be skilled hunters. They every now and then stop and sniff the ground and sniff around. And there's one point where one guy kind of like looks suspiciously in your direction, like the little eye icon on his head is wide open, like he's suspicious. Whee! And then he's, it's nothing. He doesn't see you, but these are not like the guys who accosted you in the alley. They're good. You also don't see any obvious means of entry or exit, and you don't see anyone come in or go. So I assume that when the three, but if you were to talk to when Eldritch talks to you later and says, they walk around exactly every 376 seconds, he might be able to tell, the two of you corroborating might be able to do something. But I'm going to assume that the three of you, after spending all day watching this, go back to, like I said, for nothing better, I assume you rendezvous at the docks.
Makes sense.
All right, and I assume you, since you have no reason to withhold any of this information, you tell each other what all of you saw.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they think he's a ghost then?
Well, I was just joking. Like they sort of casually noticed Eldritch, but he was like able to like, I'm just gonna sit here at this restaurant.
I thought they saw the person inside and was referring to that person as a ghost.
No, in fact, I should reinforce. I apologize for giving that impression. I'll reinforce that when you talk to Eldritch, the guards, because he was sitting close, he overheard their conversations, and Ada probably did too. They talked about like this was the most boring job in the world, that no one ever comes in here, but all of them were taking it seriously. They probably at one point muttered something, really good money though. Yeah, chili peppers, burn my gut, that sort of thing. So
yeah,
chili dog.
Guns. Chicks dig
so
guns.
then there's definitely a way in which they don't know about or didn't see, or the man is simply very good at hiding.
I mean, how many entrances did you see?
Oh, and the guards did mutter stuff like, I think that, do you think that bird up there is flying overhead? Probably not. I mean, the guards seemed a little more jumpy because even though they didn't, from what you could hear with your, keen ears of the conversation, the three, you guys rolled 2 successes. That was the borderline of if you tried to pull any shit, they were suspicious. You'd have to do 3 or more successes to get past them without tripping their suspiciousness.
I think we need to get in there.